So I've come to the conclusion that being addicted to being sad is a real thing. And I only say this because of how I used to be when I was younger. So for those who don't know, I was homeschooled my whole life. And because of that, I didn't really get as much social experience as a lot of people that were in public school. In a lot of ways, I grew up perceiving that as somewhat of a disadvantage. Really put a damper on my self-esteem and a lot of other things. My parents did the best that they could, but I feel like there were still a lot of things that they didn't know about when I was growing up. Long story short, the way that I coped with it was being very isolated in my room all the time and listening to really sad music, because I didn't really know what else to do. But one thing that I really want to point out is I've noticed a lot of kids that are around, like, even my age now, which is 20, a lot of them have things that they go through, and the way that they deal with it is by purposely seeking out to stay sad. And it's one thing if something terrible happened and you're sad or depressed and you're just trying to process all of it. Okay, that's a different story. It's one thing to go through something and you're sad about it, and then you choose to stay that way because you think that circumstance rules the rest of your life. And I think this is kind of the mentality that I had when I was younger. There's a lot of people that the way they deal with their sadness is by listening to music about sadness, watching YouTubers where all they do is talk about how sad and depressed they are, basically choosing to stay in that bubble of, oh my god, I'm in despair and my world sucks. And what sucks is I completely relate to this kind of mentality. Again, like, I grew up like that as a kid, but I don't resonate with it anymore, like, at all. Again, I just grew up as a very, very lonely person, and I didn't know how to deal with my emotions. I didn't know how to validate myself. I didn't know how to process shit. Anytime I would bring up my problems with my parents or people I knew, their immediate reaction was like, oh, you need to get over yourself. That's old news. Why are you still worried about that? That happened a long time ago. And I feel like this is a very common problem with a lot of people, and I completely relate. However, again, I don't resonate with all that anymore. When I was probably around 15 or 16, I used to listen to a shit ton of, like, Suicide Boys and Lil Peep. Metal is my favorite genre of music, so I listen to a lot of metal, a lot of music about death, and yeah, at the time, that was probably, like, all I listened to. But you have to keep in mind, your subconscious brain is constantly absorbing all of the media that you watch and all of the shit that you absorb on the internet. It's constantly consuming that stuff. A lot of YouTubers that I just stopped watching because all they do is really just talk about their problems, and this isn't to invalidate the stuff that they go through or anything like that. And I honestly do empathize with people that feel depressed and feel sad all the time. Like, I really, really empathize with that, so it's really hard for me. But I have to keep in mind that I also have to protect myself, and I have to not surround myself with that kind of energy. One thing that I've noticed since I've grown since then is that a lot of people that I used to relate to as far as sadness and depression is a lot of them have no desire to get out of their situation, and a lot of them just want to stay like that. And there's nothing in me that resonates with that anymore. I've, like, nothing. I don't admire that in any way. And one thing I want to make very abundantly clear is that that's not main character energy at all. A main character has parts in the movie where they're in a very low point and they decide, you know what, like, I have a mission, I have something I need to do, like, I can overcome this. And just purposely seeking out to stay sad and depressed is not fucking main character energy. You're not being the main character by staying stuck where you are. And I completely understand that that can be a really hard thing to do when you don't have the right people in your life, and a lot of the people in your life don't promote really good emotional habits, or you don't really receive the kind of validation that you want from people, which is why it's really important to validate yourself. But I think the thing that really got me out of it is, like, I just realized, like, listening to sad music and, like, people talking about depression all the time, it may not be why you're sad, but it's not helping either. It's really not. Like, you're not helping yourself by just constantly listening to music about people crying about how sad they are. And yeah. And you're not helping other people by staying that way either. You're not. This is your mission. You're supposed to be the main character of all this shit. Okay, that's why I'm making this YouTube channel. Like, it might be really rinky-dink. Probably not a lot of people care about it right now, but it doesn't matter, okay? I have a certain reason that I'm posting these videos. I have no idea if people I know are ever going to watch this shit, but who knows? To cut this short, align with the shit that makes you feel fulfilled and happy, and I'm not saying this for the sake of being naive. I'm not saying this for the sake of making you feel better about yourself. I'm saying this because I believe that this is the truth and this is the answer. You have to align with the shit that makes you happy. And yeah.